Hello everyone and welcome back to another Bitcoin chart planning update video. The purpose of this video is just going to be for me to show you guys a position I've been accumulating for the past week and a half, and then what my intentions are with it, what that or how that affects my view on Bitcoin, what I'm looking for, and of course why I accumulated in the first place. But before we get started, guys, remember everything in this video is just my own personal opinion. It is not financial advice. This position that I will be showing today is quite aggressive and is not recommended um, for most people, just because of the volatility currently present in Bitcoin and why the short term seems very uncertain. But then how that doesn't really matter for me going forward, at least throughout the rest of February. So just to get the position out the way so we can jump into the charts, as of this moment, so by the time I update, the price obviously will be different because it is currently a US market open, but I was able to accumulate $110,000 worth of BITU. I may add more if we just happen to make crazy lows and go below 90,000 on Bitcoin. But as of right now, this is my position. So we got 1,980 shares of BITU. The position is currently down just over $11,000 with an average price of $55.86 with BITU. So if you guys aren't familiar, BITU, there's many ETFs just like it, but it is just the one I go with. I think the company behind it is, trustworthy enough, and I've been trading this one for a while now. But the way or the reason I decided to invest into this ETF in the way I did is because overall, since we finally broke up higher into this new sideways moving structure, we've seen the price create somewhat of a sideways channel, and within this channel we've recently seen a dip into the much discounted lower half of it, found support, and I've been keeping track of this support area and this for a while during live streams as well as just some videos, but it finally came down to pretty much filling in this entire not retracement but extension area I'm using as a deep value support. Ever since then, we jumped up higher, and then we started creating this sort of a triangle pattern. We're finally seeing a break of structure forming, not quite significant just yet because we were able to get a 3 test of the resistance part of the triangle, and then we kept finding support as well. There's a 3-point test as well, and we finally had a breakout. The breakout came out to the lower side, which I honestly thought it would keep going down and try to fill in this red area, but it didn't. It held up, and that's pretty good if you are seeing this in the ways of if it can hold this area so far quite well, still holding it, using the one extension mark at 96,150 as a support, and it's still holding it. It looks quite bullish just because we're able to hold this, and we're able to also use this as a not maxing out, but a very much discounted level within the RSI. We're still trying to see if we can break over and hold over the 120 moving average. I believe this will come soon enough. Just some news lately, besides all the employment data that's been coming out. I believe it's all looking good enough for especially the next rate cut next month. I do believe there may be a rate cut as of right now, but we will see how that evolves. There's still a lot more data that's going to come out. I think tomorrow there's another important employment data. But MicroStrategy, with their earnings call and all the information they gave out yesterday with their earnings report, they said they raises another 600 million of preferred stock to buy Bitcoin, which is very, very cool. And that's probably why you're seeing the price drop, just because it's kind of watering down the stock as well. But they're looking to keep buying. They still are very, very bullish on Bitcoin. And I believe BlackRock is also working on stuff. And then we got the US Reserve eventually. Hear more stuff about that. But it seems all that we're on the right path. And then with MicroStrategy changing their name to Just Strategy, and this has to do with their strong view on Bitcoin, currently holding $46 billion worth of it, which is quite awesome. And the question is now, like, right, so holding onto this position, what is my view going forward? So I do believe Bitcoin doesn't really have much downside. I do believe I need to update these, but there's some stronger liquidity walls forming, up here, indicating that the price could potentially come up into that area and then just get rejected eventually. But, excuse me, just like we saw back here, it's something I'm kind of keeping an eye on. It's obviously forming a little bit differently. But over here, we had an imbalance where the price came down, found support, and then started pushing up higher. Similar right here. To me, this is sort of an imbalance where the price came down, found support, and it's continuing to use that support as future support. This is looking very good, just because at first you could say, well, triangle patterns, and if we're on an overall bullish move up, it should break up to the upside. Well, we saw something like that form here, and it broke lower and then had a retest up in that area. We sort of saw that here as well, where we saw a retest in that area, but then this time it's coming down, finding support sort of in the middle of it, not in the middle of the triangle, but in the middle of this smaller channel is forming. And then I don't think history will repeat itself. If it did, we will eventually see this consolidate and then break down lower into making a new low within this structure. It's unfolding a little bit too different. We're seeing the price continue to hold so far at the moment, and we still have an imbalance up here around the 103, 103.7 liquidity walls, which I need to update because I don't know if these are still valid. But these week long, or these 1 week out liquidity walls tend to hold pretty well. It hasn't been that long since I've seen these form. So we still have imbalance with a little bit of liquidity in the background to back it up. So I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually just find, a path up higher and then find resistance up in this green rectangle as well, before we see maybe a continuation of a little bit of consolidation or a small correction before we eventually move up into my February end target, which I do believe this stock will eventually, with Bitcoin, of course, supporting it. BITU, when I mean this stock, I do believe Bitcoin will eventually move up into this area by the end of February, and then BITU will reflect that by showing like at least 60 something dollars price tag on the stock currently. Earlier today, it did break below 50 briefly, but then it continues to kind of push up and hold the 50 mark. And then eventually, I do believe by the end of this month, we will see it back into the 60s, with Bitcoin trying to retest those all-time highs and then eventually forming a new all-time high. But first, seeing if it can break and hold this resistance right here where we see the imbalance rectangle. So yeah, I'm going to continue to hold this stock even if the stock falls a whole lot. I may add more to it, just because I am not wrong until February ends and we have not reached this area. If February ends and we have not reached this area, then I'm wrong, and we will see where the price is at. I am not going to be feared out of Bitcoin, out of BITU, just because a delay in a rally causing a lot of fear and then wanting, that making me want to get out. I absolutely am not that weak when it comes to my holdings. If I believe something, I will keep up with it until I am proven wrong. And in this case, that would be February ending and the price not even reaching this area. It doesn't have to hold and end at this area, but at some time by the end of February, I do believe we will be at 110,000. But we will see what happens. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it made sense. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.